Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Rangers, and I'm here to talk about Game 2 of the Eastern Conference semifinals, where the Rangers win 4-3 in double overtime over the Carolina Hurricanes, and once again take a 2-0 series lead. The New York Rangers have won 6 consecutive games to start their postseason run. And, dude, that game. This was a terrifying game where I thought the Rangers, from a play driving standpoint, were kind of run over. They took a lot of stupid penalties. They did goat Carolina into taking a lot of stupid penalties as well. But I thought the Rangers played a pretty bad game of hockey. But they still managed to pull it off. And it might come across dumb that I say that with a smirk on my face, but there was a moment in this game where I'm like, man, if they lose, what am I going to be able to point to as a victory for this game? Because they got worked over through their first 5 playoff games. I haven't really felt moved particularly. There have been some good ones, but there hasn't been a game where you're just like, oh yeah, they look dominant. They just happened to win all 5 of them. In this game, they definitely didn't look dominant. They got worked by the Carolina Hurricanes. I thought the Rangers played a bad game. They were undisciplined. They took a bunch of stupid penalties. Carolina took more stupid penalties and were goaded into more stupid penalties. But the Rangers themselves took a bunch of dumb ones, including Trouba, who took like 3 minors tonight. And the captain can't be doing that. Obviously, I wasn't making videos for it, but I was watching other series, whether it was the Lightning, whether it was Toronto, whether it was whoever you want to talk about. And the captain can't be doing that. Trouba can't be doing that. He's one of, some of the time, certainly some of the time this year, one of their best defensive defensemen. And he can't be in the box for all these power or penalty kills because he's the reason for it. You just can't be doing that. But the Rangers played by far their worst game of the playoffs. Their worst game far and away. And they still won. Carolina played a really, really good game of hockey. They had a lot of really, really good scoring chances. They had a lot of power plays. Rangers' penalty kill was stronger. Igor Shesterkin made a bunch of unreal saves. And there was a moment in overtime where you started in the back of your mind to think about the Penguins game a couple years ago, where Shesterkin made all those crazy saves in Game 1 against the Pens, but they lose in like triple OT, and it just sucked. But they were able to win the following game. This would be a little bit different, because the Rangers, again, I would say they haven't looked dominant to this point. They've just looked good enough to win 5 in a row, which sounds really stupid, but if you've watched them, you know what I mean. If they were to have lost this game in overtime, and it's like, well, Shesterkin finally had like his unreal game, and it comes in a double or triple OT loss, what do you take from that? What do you take from splitting on home ice? What do you take from playing a pretty okay game that you managed to win by 1 and then getting absolutely run over? Not a whole lot. But the Rangers persevere through double overtime and find a way to win the game. Now, how do you get to double overtime? Well, you go back to the first period. The Rangers would leave the first period down 2-1, but they'd get on the board first. Alexis Lafreniere, one of 2 goals tonight. Unbelievable snipe from along the boards. One of the nicest, clean, beaten shots of the Rangers postseason to this point. Dude, he looked unreal in the regular season. He's looked really good through the postseason so far. He was the best player on the ice tonight for the Rangers, outside of Igor Shesterkin. I will not hear a debate otherwise. He was everywhere, and I am just, dude. Loff has arrived, and playoff Loff has re-arrived. It's unbelievable. He puts the Rangers up 1-0. Jake Guentzel gets a really nice deflection in front, and it's 1-1. You kind of go, all right, whatever, you dust it off. And then Dmitry Orlov, again, really, really nice tip in front. The Rangers are down 2-1 at this point. The Carolina Hurricane were able to do a really, really good thing, which was just traffic in front of the net. The Rangers did a terrible job in front of their own net tonight. All 3 goals were just defensemen getting beat. These 2 were just real bad tips. The other one, the second Guentzel goal, was Kreider getting beat by Guentzel, and I mean eaten alive on that play. He was just in no man's land while Guentzel skates to the front of the net. We'll get to that in a second. But that's the biggest thing they're going to have to adjust heading into Game 3, is making sure that you protect the front of the net better. I thought they've done a pretty good job of that this season, But by God, that was just... They got worked in front of Shesterkin tonight. Thankfully, he was unbelievable and was able to make a lot of huge saves in this game. However, those 2 tips in the first period and then the second Jake Gensel goal in the second period were not those great saves. But speaking of the second period, Alexis Lafreniere ties the game. Beautiful feed from Adam Fox. Alexis Lafreniere sends it home, ties the game up at 2. Then you get that second Gensel goal. I will give the Canes a lot of credit here. This was a really nice goal by them. Sebastian Aho, great job along the boards. Rifle of a backhanded pass. I don't even know if he had a look over, if he was just hoping that Gensel was there. Regardless, right to Gensel, who had absolutely eaten Chris Kreider alive there. He scores. It's 3-2. And then the echoes kind of start of, Kreider had a couple of goals in the Washington series. Need something from him here. And then Chris Kreider said, yeah, you do. The Rangers are on a third period power play, which is a gift, and they managed to cash in on this one. It is madness in front of the net. It's in Frederik Andersen's feet. Kreider gets a hold of the puck, slams it home, his third of the playoffs, ties the game up at 3 apiece. The Rangers continue on through the third period. There were some moments where they could have just simply ended it before overtime, and there were probably more chances for the Canes to do that. You head to the first overtime. Again, Canes kind of ran them in the first overtime. Shots were 10-8. It felt worse than that. Then you get to second overtime. And a gift. The Rangers go on another power play. I want to say the Canes had a power play to start double OT. The Rangers get on one. Once again, it's just madness in front of the net. Vincent Trocheck, it's in the feet of Frederik Andersen, and he slams one home. Game winner, Vincent Trocheck, the greasy player who I've said all this postseason is who the Rangers signed up for, appeared once again. Dude, Vincent Trocheck and Alexis Lafreniere have looked unbelievable in this postseason for the Rangers. They have both just been everything you could hope for. And we're going to talk about Panarin in a second, but that was just... that goal, dude, electric. You love to see it. The Rangers power play once again coming up big. The power plays looked really good. There were a couple of power plays tonight for the Rangers that looked kind of just like busy work, and I didn't love that. But they still were able to cash in a couple of goals, which is all you can possibly hope for. And again, I was terrified of figuring out what I was going to have to say if the Rangers lost this game. We don't have to go into that reality. They won it. Shesterkin was unbelievable. He bailed them out more than once, a few dozen times. I thought Keandre Miller had a couple of really big plays on the penalty kill in overtime and double OT that were low-key. They weren't highlight reel or anything, but they were really, really important plays. They're not going to show up on the highlight packs, but if you watched it, you went, oh, that's saving a massive scoring chance. I thought he deserved a lot of praise for this game. The second line obviously was fantastic. You get 3 goals from those guys. Granted, one of them was a power play from Trocheck. Loff looked great. Loff was buzzing the whole night. You got to see more out of Artemi Panarin. Thankfully, the Rangers are 6 games into this playoff run. They have won all 6 of them. They're doing fine, but you need to see Panarin wake up. He looked really good for the first little bit of that Washington series. You need that to come back out. You need that Penguins Artemi Panarin to come back out, because he is the main horse on this team. Obviously, 120 points in the regular season. You need him to start cashing in. But dude, if he can wake up with Loff rolling the way he is, and with Trocheck rolling the way he is, because Panarin's played a really physical game. It's been wild. But he's not taking any garbage. He's throwing it back. We're going to leave that in. Like, Panarin hasn't been bad, but he just has been very... He's been adequate, fine, middle of the road. You need him to find that extra gear. Also, and I'm not trying to punch down on him because I think he was brought here mainly to be like a middle to bottom 6 guy. Jack Roslovic with Kreider and Mika, he's got to kick it in here. He's not been bad either. I am the biggest proprietor in, expectations, the gateway to disappointment. Dude, you're on the top line. Kreider's been doing some stuff in the postseason. Had a goal tonight. I understand what's the power play. Mika's looked unreal the entire postseason. He's got to find it. He's got to find it to kick in, because if that top line can get rolling, second line's already cooking. If Roslovic and Panarin can both just find it to complete their lines on the top 6, Dude. Also on the topic of a person who needs to get going, and I will say this, Trouba, man. I've defended Trouba to no end. I've been one of the biggest Trouba supporters. He's got to find it. He has got to find it. He has got to stop taking these dumb penalties. They drive you up a wall. I mean, he's been horrible in the postseason at this point. But the beauty of it is you're only 6 games into the postseason. There is still plenty of time for Trouba to wake up and stop taking dumb penalties and start playing great defense, which I truly, truly think that he can do. But this was a hard one to watch from him from a defensive perspective. They now get a day off, big day off. Everyone needs to just immediately go home and rest. They are in Raleigh Thursday night at 7 p.m. for Game 3. I'll be here afterwards to talk about it, but as for right now, that's all I have to say. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider to like and subscribe. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day, and as always, go Rangers.